They weren't married, yet they already had 3 kids. 3 kids they didn't ask for. Kids they didn't want. I knew my mom wouldn't take care of the kids, so I stepped up. Luckily, my dad bought food for the babies, because my mom refused to breastfeed them. And every morning before going to school, I would bathe and feed them, then put them to sleep. When I returned from school, I would meet them still in the same position I left them, their diapers wet and unchanged. I would help them with it before taking them to my room to sleep together. As we grew up, the twins called me Mom first. I was so scared when they did and apologized to my mom, but she didn't care.
Do you think I give a damn? They can call you that. I'm already infuriated that you call me Mom. I can't have these stupid things doing the same.
Yeah, I was angry, but what could I do? My name is Melinda, and I'm the firstborn child of 3 children. My parents both had me at a young age and out of wedlock. They were both rebels who met each other on the streets. They'd formed a little gang of robbers on the streets and survived with that. At the age of 20, they'd gone from little pickpocketing to burglary and even armed robbery. They made enough money and bought a small house for themselves. When my mother got pregnant the first time, it was totally unexpected. She was only 22 then, and my dad was 25. They were both not ready to have any intruder, as they often called me, but they had no choice. Doctors refused to help them get rid of the pregnancy, and my mom was scared of going to a quack. So, against their wish, they had me. One day, when my mom was about 4 months pregnant, they'd gone out for their usual robbery sessions. Unfortunately, they nearly got caught by the cops. My parents had to run until they got home. That made my mom so exhausted that she fainted the moment they walked in. She almost lost me afterward. Instead of being happy that she didn't get a miscarriage, she was angry and sad. She hated me even more for being stubborn. Well, after that day, my dad decided that it was time for them to quit stealing. He didn't care about me, but my mom. He couldn't bring himself to imagine her getting harmed because of him. So he went in search of a job. My dad was happy to have a job that would help him care for my mom more, but she wasn't. She complained that she won't see him as often as she used to, and she couldn't bring herself to not be around him. My dad did his best to convince her to let him work.
I have to protect you. I don't care for the baby, but you're the carrier and I love you. I have to make sure you're not harmed. You need to have enough rest, and for that to happen, I have to work.
Eventually, my mom agreed. While my dad was at work, she would bring in her numerous lovers to keep her company. Of course, my dad had no idea. My mom knew he would never cheat on her, but my dad had no idea that my mom had been cheating on him for the longest time. When she finally had me, she thought my dad would stop working, but he didn't. My dad had grown to love working at the company and had no plans to quit. My mom hated that. She didn't like how she only saw him at night. Even more, she hated me because I was the cause of it all. She neglected me. She wouldn't breastfeed me until I nearly cried my eyes out. She wouldn't carry me or even change my diapers early. She would only bathe me whenever she felt like it. You would think my dad was different. Unfortunately, he wasn't. On days when he didn't go to work, he would ignore me and only spend time with my mom. I didn't receive even the tiniest bit of love from him. When I got to age 3, my dad suggested for my mom to get a job. It wasn't hard to take care of us alone, but he didn't like the fact that my mom was idling away at home. But my mom refused. She gave the excuse that no company would want her because she didn't graduate college. But in reality, she didn't want to work because that meant she wouldn't see her lovers anymore. My dad agreed with her, but after 2 years, he tried again. This time, she was forced to agree because he helped her get the job. I was put in school where I was mostly forgotten. The teacher would complain every time they forgot to pick me up on time, but they never changed. My dad soon got a promotion at work, and that required him traveling every now and then. It was like freedom to my mom. Whenever my dad was out traveling, she would bring one of her lovers home to spend the night. It got to a point that some of them began staring at me strangely. By then, I was already 10. Whenever they tried to touch me, I would yell and cry, and that would result in them beating me up. Of course, my mom knew what was happening, but she never spoke about it. She let them hit me and never checked up on me afterward. I prayed every day for them to not have another child, I didn't want them to bring any more innocent souls into the suffering. It seemed as though the universe was against me because my mother got pregnant after my 11th birthday. She stopped working immediately when she got the news about her pregnancy. My dad wasn't happy about it. He wanted her to work a little more and take a child delivery leave. But my mom was too stupid and stubborn to think and do that. Well, she didn't stop her dirty behaviors even during the pregnancy. By then, I was grown enough to know how to take care of myself. So, whenever she was home with her lovers, I would lock myself in my room and not step out until they were gone. Unfortunately, when my mom gave birth, she had twins, 2 children to suffer with me. I was so sad. My parents were angry. They weren't married, yet they already had 3 kids. 3 kids they didn't ask for. Kids they didn't want. I knew my mom wouldn't take care of the kids, so I stepped up. Luckily, my dad bought food for the babies, because my mom refused to breastfeed them. Every morning before going to school, I would bathe and feed them, then put them to sleep. When I returned from school, I would meet them still in the same position I left them, their diapers wet and unchanged. I would help them with it before taking them to my room to sleep together. As we grew up, the twins called me Mom first. I was so scared when they did and apologized to my mom, but she didn't care.
Do you think I give a damn? They can call you that. I'm already infuriated that you call me Mom. I can't have these stupid things doing the same.
Yeah, I was angry, but what could I do? I let the kids call me Mom and took care of them. My dad was kind enough to enroll them in a school beside mine. I don't think kind is the word, though. I feel like he did so to avoid picking them up. If they were close to my school, I would easily pick them up. Regardless of his intentions, I was grateful. After high school, I got a part-time job before applying for college. My dad paid for the first 2 years but refused to pay after.
You're grown. Get a man who will see you through the rest of your college. I'm done with you. The only thing I can do now is provide a roof, and that will only last until you're 23.
I was already 21 then. The twins were 11 and just got into junior high school. I was doing 2 part-time jobs then. I had to add 1 more to help myself through college because I wasn't a fan of depending on a man for his money. I managed to see myself through the remaining 2 years and passed with distinctions. Different companies reached out to employ me. Eventually, I settled for the one with the most profit and promise of durability. My first salary was enough to get my own space and move out with my siblings. I was quick to move out because I caught one of my mom's lovers once, trying to touch one of the twins who was a girl. I couldn't let it happen. When we moved out, my parents didn't care. If for anything, they were happy. They never wanted us anyway. By then, the twins already knew I wasn't their real mom and was just their elder sister. However, they didn't stop calling me Mom. According to them, our mom hated them and never acted like she birthed them, so there was no point calling her that. With the twins and I living together, I changed their school to a better one and gave them all the love and care I never received. They loved me just as much as I loved them. They also worked hard in school and avoided trouble. They were determined to never disappoint me and to make me proud. That was my motivation to work harder. Time passed and the twins graduated high school and got into college. I was already doing extremely well for myself. We lived together in a bigger house and had 2 cars, one of which the twins shared. As for my parents, well, things weren't going nicely for them. My dad caught my mom cheating and they got into a fight. He beat her up until she fainted, then he left the house. He began stealing again. But he ran out of luck because he got caught by the police and was shot in the leg while trying to escape. He went into hiding, but couldn't steal to treat his wound. When he got desperate for money, he found our house and came over. Well, we were all shocked to see him after so long, and hurt because he didn't come to check on us. What the hell are you doing here? How dare you come here?
I need money. I took care of you all, even if I never wanted you all. I deserve your wealth. Give me enough money and I won't ever show up here again.
I marveled at the level of his entitlement. While we were speaking, my sister went into her room. I assumed that she'd gone to cry.
You think you deserve her money? Can you hear yourself, Dad? You're so shameless and evil. She took care of us after you and that woman abandoned us. How dare you come here to say you deserve her money? Oh, cut the crap. Look, I'm not gonna bother you, I swear. Just give me money and let me go. I have to treat my wound.
Never. I'm not gonna give you anything. While we were arguing, my sister came again and whispered in my ear that she'd contacted the police and they were on their way. I tried to tell my brother, but he was already too angry. He walked to my dad and punched him. My dad punched him back and they began fighting. Of course, with my brother having the upper hand. I tried to separate them, but my sister stopped me. The police came very quickly. My dad tried to run away again once he heard the sound of their siren, but my brother pinned him down until the police came in. He was cuffed and taken away. He was taken to jail because he was already a criminal. My mom also got arrested because she nearly murdered one of her lovers during a fight. 2 of them were in jail. My dad's injury got infected, and he had to have half his leg amputated, leading him to walking with wooden crutches that hurt his underarms. Years passed. I got married and had kids, as well as my siblings. We were all doing so well. The twins still addressed me as their mom. After my sister had her second child, I decided to visit my parents in jail. They looked so old and unkempt, with their eyes filled with sadness and regret. I showed them pictures of our kids and they burst into tears, apologizing for being horrible parents. I walked away without forgiving them, but not before letting them know that they deserved all they got and would never feel the warmth of hugging their grandkids. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below saying I subscribed, and we will try our best to reply to your comment. Life with my grandmother was hell.
Come on, Indian monkey dance. Dance! It's what your people are good at. Dance!
I would dance in tears. She made me aware of the fact that I was adopted. I didn't let my parents know that she'd told me, but I felt so bad. Whenever they weren't home, my grandma would only let me watch Indian movies and listen to Indian music.
Your biological parents hated you. They abandoned you at the orphanage. My son is going to disown you when that barren witch finally gives him a child. You're going to be abandoned.
I was always crying. I began to fall back on my academics. I stopped talking to my friends at school because my grandma said they were also going to leave me one day. I became quiet and withdrawn. Hi there. My name is Suli. I live with my American parents, but my biological parents were Indians. Well, my parents got married at ages 25 and 23. They decided to pause childbirth and enjoy life alone a little. Well, 2 years after their marriage, they decided to try for a child, and that's where the problems began. My mom had issues with her womb, so she had to undergo a surgery. When my dad's parents heard about it, things didn't go well. My granddad was cool with it, and even sympathized with my mom, but my grandma didn't take it lightly.
What did you do with yourself during your school days, huh? Did you abort so much that you now have issues with your womb? I thought you were a good girl.
Stop it, Mom. Liv is not like that, and you know it. You're being unnecessarily disrespectful.
What? Are you insulting your mother now because of your wife?
Where's that coming from, Mom? I didn't even insult you.
Well, as you must have guessed, my mom felt so sad about it. She stood behind my dad, crying. My grandma had always treated her well. It pained her to see how the woman suddenly switched, and she blamed herself for it.
I'm sorry, Mother. I promise you I wasn't a loose girl. I didn't date anyone until Ken asked me out. I swear to you, this just happened to be my situation. Tell that to a fool, not me. You want to have surgery, right? Go on. I dare you to not have my son's child after that surgery.
Mom, you're being insensitive. She's gonna have to be on medication after the surgery. I'm fine with it whenever we have kids. You have no right to pressurize her.
My mom underwent the surgery, and it went well. For a whole year, she had to be on medication. My grandmother didn't make things easy for her. Every week, she would go over to my parents' house and lash at my mom. My dad stood up for his wife whenever he was home, and at times when he wasn't, all my mom would do is cry while my grandma insulted her. After another year, my mom still didn't have any children. This time, she didn't have any issue, and neither did my dad. My mom's mother had passed away, but her dad was supportive of them. Same with my dad's father, but my grandmother continued troubling them.
You're a barren woman. I regret agreeing when Ken said he wanted to marry you. You don't deserve to be a part of our family.
Mom, she's as important to me as you are. Maybe even more, okay? This is my wife, my life partner. You better stop bothering her.
My grandma didn't stop. She continued until my parents were forced to opt for adoption. They'd thought that would make her happy, but it was even the opposite.
Adoption? Ken, how can you stupidly let this barren woman push you to adopt a child? My son has been bewitched.
Excuse me? I'm not barren, and I didn't bewitch Ken. We both agreed to this because of you. The doctor advised us to wait because we both have no problems. You're not making it easy for us, Mom. Don't you ever call me that. I'm not your mother. Your stupid mother is dead. Give my son children.
My mom was even more broken, especially hearing how my grandma brought up her late mother. My dad comforted her in the best way he could. After 3 months, they went to an orphanage to process the adoption. When they found me, I was only a month old. My parents fell in love with me the moment they landed eyes on me, and I was picked. The process was quite long, as I was only an infant. Eventually, they got me and named me Suli. For the first 3 years after my adoption, my grandmother refused to come see me. She stopped talking to my dad. Even at the company, she refused to go there if my dad was present. It made my parents sad for a while, but they soon got used to it. Both my grandfathers loved me and showered me with love. My biological parents were both Indians, and I inherited their looks. It was easy to tell that I wasn't American. My parents and granddads didn't mind, but my grandmother did. She finally came to see me after 3 years. Well, my grandfathers thought she was being silly and spoke some sense into her.
Why does the child have a different look from us?
That's because she's Indian, Mom. Her biological parents are Indians.
Indian? I can't believe this. How can you both be so stupid? You got an Indian kid? What good is it going to do to you? She's a girl, ma'am. Not it, she. Please address her appropriately. Oh, I see you've grown wings. Don't forget that you still don't have a child of your own, barren woman.
Suli is our child, Mother. Can you watch your words?
I don't have anything to watch. This child is unaccepted. She's not one of us, and I hate her. How can you be so hostile to a child? You're being so unfair.
As I grew, I saw less of my grandmother. But the few times I saw her, she wasn't nice to me. On my 10th birthday, my parents threw a big party. Friends and extended families came, and I was happy. My parents had put me in a room while everyone outside prepared for my surprise. The room was dark, and I was blindfolded. I sat on a sofa, my view away from the door, waiting. I heard the door open, and I thought it was my mom. I sat waiting until I suddenly felt someone hit me hard, and I fell to the ground in pain. I heard the person run out, and I quickly looked. When they opened the door, I saw the person's face. It was my grandmother. Immediately after she ran out, my parents came in and turned on the light to see me crying on the floor. They were alarmed as they saw me bleeding. My dad immediately scooped me up and carried me out of the room. The party immediately ended because I was rushed to the hospital. They helped me dress the wound and gave me medications. I couldn't go to school for a whole week. My parents had no idea who would do that to me. They would involve the police, but the area I was in had no CCTV camera, so there was nothing to use in finding the culprit. My parents had to move to another house because they thought our house wasn't safe anymore. I knew who did it, but I couldn't tell. I knew my parents weren't on good terms with my grandma, so I thought telling them wouldn't be nice. I became scared of my grandmother. It was even more uncomfortable for me when she suddenly made up with my parents and began visiting our house regularly. She encouraged my mom to resume work after 6 months, promising to help with looking after me. I wanted to tell my mom how scared and uncomfortable I was, but I couldn't. Not after seeing how happy my mom was about resuming work again. Life with my grandmother was hell.
Come on, Indian monkey dance. Dance! It's what your people are good at. Dance!
I would dance in tears. She made me aware of the fact that I was adopted. I didn't let my parents know that she'd told me, but I felt so bad. Whenever they weren't home, my grandma would only let me watch Indian movies and listen to Indian music.
Your biological parents hated you. They abandoned you at the orphanage. My son is going to disown you when that barren witch finally gives him a child. You're going to be abandoned.
I was always crying. I began to fall back on my academics. I stopped talking to my friends at school because my grandma said they were also going to leave me one day. I became quiet and withdrawn. I stopped eating as much as I used to, leading to me growing lean. I also began wearing baggy clothes that covered my thighs because my grandma told me I was shapeless, and the scar she gave me was ugly. On my 11th birthday, I refused to have a party no matter how much my parents begged me. I was scared of getting attacked again by my grandmother. My parents noticed the changes and felt bad about it. They tried to pull me out of whatever was bothering me, but it didn't work. Eventually, my mom paused working to look after me. I was free from my grandmother for a while, but I still didn't change. In fact, I became worse. My mom soon had to take me to a therapist, and I began taking sessions twice a week. One day, when my mom was away on a date with my dad, my grandmother visited us. I began crying immediately when I saw her. She smiled and resumed taunting me. She said my parents were taking me for therapy because they thought I was going insane. She told me they would soon return me to the orphanage. I cried so much until I fainted. My grandmother left the house. It was one of the maids who helped me return to consciousness. I got even worse, but my parents never left me. About 10 months later, my mom got pregnant. After nearly 14 years of their marriage, she was finally having her own child.
You're going to be abandoned soon, Indian girl. They'll hate you and only love their child.
I decided to confront my parents. I would beg them to not abandon me. The right time didn't come until my 12th birthday. They'd managed to convince me to let them throw a party. After cutting my cake, I requested to give a speech. My parents were all smiles, but my grandmother was busy mouthing the word abandoned to me. I began crying. I love you so much, Mom and Dad. I'm thankful that you adopted me even though I'm not American, and my real parents abandoned me. Please, don't leave me. I'm going to do anything you want. I'm going to love your child when it's born. Please, don't take me back. My parents were alarmed, as well as the guests and my grandparents. I could see the fear in my grandmother's eyes. My parents rushed to me and comforted me. They asked how I knew about my adoption, and I told them. I said into the mic everything I'd been going through in the hands of my grandmother. Everyone was shocked. My dad's eyes were red with anger.
How dare you, Mom? Are you crazy? How could you do that to my child? How can you be so evil? You're her grandmother.
You must be a fool to think that all Indians do is dance. I can't believe you.
At your age, you should have some sense in your head. I can't believe you've spent 2 years bullying a child.
She hid her face in shame as everyone talked down on her. My dad asked her to leave, but his dad stopped her.
You have to apologize to Suli and take back your words about Indians.
You must also dance in front of us the way you made my daughter dance.
In shame, she went on her knees and apologized to me. She also took back her words and danced in tears. It was so embarrassing for her. Unfortunately for her, the video of her dancing like an Indian went viral and people often made fun of her. My parents refused to associate with her afterward and cut her off. My grandfather moved out of the house they shared and got a different house where he ordered his security to refuse her entry. Eventually, she fell into depression, but nobody cared. She was alone for 3 years, and during those years, we often heard rumors of how people slashed her tires and wrote old racist slurs on her front lawn with paint. One day, she died in her room. Her body wasn't discovered until 3 days later, when my grandfather sent someone to ask her to leave the house. She was buried ordinarily, and the house was sold off for peanuts. As for me, my therapist and the birth of my brother helped me recover. I was happy with my family. My hatred for my grandmother didn't reduce even after she died, and I think I'm going to hate her until my death. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below saying I subscribed, and we will try our best to reply to your comment.